Continuing now with our lead story, the ACLU, New York Times, NBC News, all colluding to smear the United States worldwide, at least in my opinion. Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Katharine and Juan Williams. So, Juan, when you saw that Statue of Liberty cartoon in the New York Times, the whip, what did you think?
I think it's out of line. You know, you can do anything you want on an op-ed page. You can have sort of a political caricature. But I thought that went a step farther, which is to suggest that America, which of course has greeted, immigrants and those who have been torn apart by political, just hard, brutal tactics in the rest of the world. America has always been a safe haven. To portray the Statue of Liberty in that way, it hurt. It's not something I feel comfortable with, Bill. Not at all. Okay,
so what's the motivation with Sulzberger, Keller, the NBC crew, the ACLU?
Let me just tell you. I think specifically with the New York Times, I think they are still feeling as if they didn't do their job when it came to holding the Bush administration accountable for the entry into the war in Iraq and the whole questions of weapons of mass destruction. They felt that they were co-opted, and in fact, their reporting was supportive of the Bush administration at that time. They got into bed, and they have felt ever since, all the trials with Scooter Libby and all that they got used. And I think they're trying to get themselves back on track. Now, I think that's a good thing in some ways. They should hold the powers that be accountable. But what they're doing, I think, right now is that, trying to make up for mistakes in the past, and they made some strong mistakes that they feel very much took them out of their normal role as a watchdog. When you talked about in the
there might be some of that residual anger over there supporting the invasion of Iraq, but I think that at this point we're into real human beings being in danger, Katharine, and the point of my talking points memo and debate with Karl Rove is this isn't theory anymore. Once those pictures come out about the U.S. investigation into prisoner abuse, and there has been prisoner abuse, all right, there has been, but they were trying to find out who did it and then punish those people. Once those pictures whip around the world in conjunction with what NBC and the New York Times are doing, it's going to make our soldiers in more danger. What do you say?
I think you're definitely right. I'm much less worried about the infantile cartoon, which political cartoonists are known for that kind of thing, unfortunately, especially in the New York Times sometimes, than I am about the pictures, which will be used as propaganda. And it's ironic that the people on the left who have been arguing that Bush's tactics the entire time have created more terrorists are actually arguing to release these things, which are really going to cause problems for America, for troops overseas. And like you said, these pictures are actually evidence that we were looking to punish the people who were responsible for these things. Another thing that the media wants to do is to delegitimize every argument on the right about the enhanced interrogation techniques. They want the torture issue, as they call it, to be morally finished, to be done, and to say that nobody else is allowed to have an opinion and to argue that at all. As Arianna Huffington said that, exactly.
Right, absolutely. The strategy is marginalize anybody who opposes them as human rights violators. It's the same thing on gay marriage. If you oppose it, you're a homophobe. If you oppose illegal immigration, you're anti-Hispanic. That's what they always do. But why? President Obama's life is going to be a lot more difficult once these pictures get out. He's going to be suffering because of this. I don't think he knows it.
Well, I don't think he knows it. I'm not sure you're right. I think, in fact, much of the world will see it as an effort by the Obama administration to clear the decks, to say, look, what happened in the past is not going to happen now because he's done away with these enhanced tactics. And I got to tell you something, in the talking points memo, you said there's an attempt now to marginalize anybody that's a hawk. But, Bill, you got to remember, it was the neocons who told us, go into Iraq. It was the neocons and all the hawks who said, we can go in there and get this all done. Mission accomplished.
But that doesn't help our troops now, and it doesn't help President Obama now, Juan. And if you think the world's going to greet these pictures as some kind of great revelation of a free society, you're crazy. They're going to be used to say, look how bad Americans are. Look what they did to our Muslim brothers. That's what it's going to be used for, Juan. You got to wise up on this one.
What about the fact, Bill, what about the fact that these things occurred and that we as Americans don't buy into torture?
Juan. What do we got? What about the fact that Daniel Pearl got his head cut off? Does that mean you hate every Muslim? Does that mean you hate every Muslim? Does that
Bill,
what it means?
do you want those people to set our moral standards?
No, I don't. But if mistakes happen, you don't rub a whole country's face in the mud because some people make mistakes. Go ahead, Katharine.
Well, and then I would argue also that the neocons were not marginalizing any Democrats during this debate. The Democrats actually were involved in all of these hearings and briefings about the enhanced interrogation techniques, and that's why Nancy Pelosi's on defense now on this issue, because she wants these truth commissions, and then all of a sudden it comes out that Porter Goss knows she was there.
Though.
We knew what she heard, everything. And these Democrats are all going to have to pay the price for that, because they were acquiescent in this, and now they're trying to play dumb. And if they thought it was such a moral outrage, they should have done something about it at the time. The fact is it wasn't a moral outrage, and this is what needed to be done at the time.
Juan, Mary Katharine, I got to go. Thank you. Here are the results of our BillO'Reilly.com poll, and they are astounding. We asked,